Hey everyone, welcome back to English Daily Talk, your space for real stories, real emotions, and real English. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Chris. It's really good to have you with us again. If you've been following the C1 series, you know our goal isn't just to teach vocabulary. We want to give you something deeper: confidence, clarity, and the kind of English you can actually use in real life.
Today's episode is called Stop Waiting to Feel Ready.
Which is a fancy way of saying, stop delaying your life because you don't feel prepared.
And if you're learning English, you already know how this feels. You keep telling yourself, I'll speak when my grammar is better. Or, I'll join that conversation when my vocabulary is bigger. Or, I'll apply for that job when my accent is perfect.
The problem is, ready is not a destination you arrive at. It's a feeling that comes and goes. If you wait for it, you'll wait forever.
So, in this episode, we'll start with a story, a very normal story, about how waiting to feel ready can quietly steal your progress.
Then we'll reflect and discuss what ready really means, why we chase it, and how to move forward even when your confidence is not there.
And later, we'll have a language spotlight where we unpack C1 level phrases and structures you can borrow for speaking, writing, and telling your own stories.
If you can, grab a drink, find a comfortable spot, and let your mind slow down for a bit.
Ready?
Even if you don't feel ready, let's begin.
Okay, let me tell you about a moment that feels small, but honestly changed my whole attitude toward learning.
I'm listening.
It was a Thursday evening. I remember because Thursdays are the days when my brain becomes dramatic.
Why Thursday specifically?
Because by Thursday, you've already spent 4 days trying to be a responsible human. Your energy is low, your patience is low, and suddenly every tiny problem feels like a personal attack.
That's painfully accurate.
So on that Thursday, I had this plan. I was going to join an online English conversation club. Not an official class. Just a casual group where people meet on Zoom and talk about daily topics.
That sounds like a great idea.
It was a great idea in theory. In reality, I had been planning to join for 3 months.
3 months.
3 months. I had clicked join and then closed the page. I had saved the link. I had even told myself, next week, I'll do it.
Classic.
Every week, I found a new excuse. Sometimes it was reasonable. I'm busy. Sometimes it was ridiculous. I don't like my background. My room is messy. Sometimes it was emotional. I don't feel ready.
Ah, the main villain of today's episode.
Exactly. The night of the conversation club, I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and stared at the meeting link like it was a doorway to a scary movie.
What was the fear?
It wasn't one single fear. It was a whole collection. I was afraid my English would sound childish. I was afraid I would forget simple words. I was afraid someone would ask me something and I'd freeze.
The fear of being exposed.
Yes. And also the fear of being judged, even if no one actually judges you.
Sometimes our brains create an imaginary audience that's much harsher than real humans.
Exactly. So I looked at the time. The meeting would start in 5 minutes. My heart felt weird. Not like panic, but like pressure. Like someone was pushing a heavy book onto my chest.
The body reacts before the mind can explain.
I said out loud, I'm not ready.
Like a final decision.
Like a final decision. And honestly, I felt relief. Because if I didn't join, I didn't have to risk embarrassment.
Avoidance always feels like relief in the short term.
Yes. So I closed the laptop, stood up, and walked to the kitchen. I started making tea, pretending I was just having a peaceful evening.
Pretending. But your mind was still in that Zoom room.
Exactly. I was stirring my tea and imagining people speaking confidently. I imagined them laughing at my mistakes. I imagined myself saying something wrong and then wanting to disappear.
That's a strong imagination. You should write novels.
Honestly, my brain is a full-time film director. It makes movies that no one asked for. Sir,
So what happened?
I sat on the couch with my tea and tried to watch something on my phone. But my mind kept drifting back to the conversation club. And then something interesting happened.
What?
I realized I wasn't really not ready. I was just uncomfortable.
That's an important difference.
Yes. And I think we confuse those two feelings all the time. We treat discomfort as a sign that we should stop. But discomfort is often just a sign that we're about to grow.
So you noticed that in the moment.
Not in a perfectly calm, wise way. More like I felt annoyed at myself. Because I knew I was repeating the same pattern. Waiting for a magical moment when I would suddenly become a confident speaker.
The ready fantasy.
Exactly. And then I remembered something you told me once.
Uh-oh. I'm scared. What did I say?
You said, readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision.
I sound like a motivational poster.
You do, but it's also true.
What did you do with that thought?
I stood up, walked back to my desk, opened my laptop again, and clicked the link.
Wait, you joined,
I joined.
even though you didn't feel ready.
Exactly. And let me tell you, the moment the Zoom window opened, my nervous system tried to escape my body.
That's dramatic.
But real. My hands felt cold. My mouth felt dry. And then I saw the faces. A teacher hosting the session, and about 10 learners from different countries.
What was the vibe?
Surprisingly normal. People were smiling. Someone waved. Someone said, "Hi, where are you from?" In a gentle tone.
Not a courtroom. Not a stage. Just people.
Just people. But my brain didn't accept that immediately. My brain was still in survival mode.
So what did you say?
I said, "Hello, I'm Jessica. I'm from..." And then I suddenly forgot the English word for my own country.
No.
Yes.
That's the most unfair thing. Your brain will forget even the easiest word the moment you need it.
Exactly. I paused, and the silence felt like a spotlight.
How did you recover?
I said the country name anyway. Just the name. And then I laughed a little and said, "Sorry, my brain is slow today."
That's a great strategy. Humanize the moment.
And you know what happened?
Let me guess. No one attacked you.
No one attacked me. People smiled. Someone said, "No worries. Me too." Another person said, "It's okay. We understand."
The world didn't end.
The world didn't end. But my brain needed proof. Not logic. Proof.
That's a key point. You can tell yourself, it's fine 1,000 times, but your body believes experience.
Exactly. So the session continued. The host introduced a topic. What is a habit you want to build in 2026?
A classic conversation club question.
Yes. And when it was my turn, I panicked again. Because I wanted to say something meaningful, something elegant, something C1 level.
The perfection trap.
Exactly. I wanted to sound like a TED Talk. But my English in that moment was not a TED Talk. It was a little messy.
And that's okay.
I didn't feel like it was okay. I felt like I was failing. But I forced myself to speak anyway. I said something like, I want to build a habit of speaking more, even if I make mistake, because I always waiting for perfect moment.
That's actually a perfect sentence for this episode.
I know. It's funny. My messy English accidentally became my truth. So,
How did people respond?
they nodded. They understood. And then someone asked me a follow-up question. What situations make you afraid to speak?
Follow-up questions are the real test.
Yes. And I didn't know how to answer perfectly. So I answered honestly. I said. When I think people are very fluent, I feel small. I think they will notice my mistakes. And then I become quiet.
That's a powerful sentence. Simple, but honest.
And the host said something that still stays with me. She said, "Thank you for saying that. A lot of people feel the same, but they don't say it out loud."
That's the moment when your vulnerability becomes useful.
Yes. I realized my job wasn't to sound perfect. My job was to communicate.
Communication over perfection. Always.
The session ended after an hour. And when it ended, I felt two things at the same time. So,
What were they?
first, relief. Like, I survived. Second, pride. Not because I spoke like a native speaker, but because I showed up.
That's the real win.
Exactly. And later that night, I wrote a note to myself. I wrote, "I didn't feel ready. I did it anyway. And now I feel more ready than before."
Because action creates readiness.
Yes, it's like a door. You can stand in front of the door and imagine what's behind it. You can try to feel brave. You can try to feel ready. But the only thing that changes your life is opening the door.
So the story ends with you joining the club.
Not just joining once. I joined again the next week.
That's the important part.
And the next week was still uncomfortable. But it was less scary. And my English wasn't magically perfect. But it was freer.
Freer is a great word.
Because when you stop waiting for readiness, you stop living in a cage made of one day.
Wow. That line belongs in the language spotlight.
You can steal it later.
Let's unpack what happened. Because this story is about English, but it's also about life.
Yes. It's about that moment when you're standing at the edge of something good, and your brain says, "Not yet."
And the scary part is that not yet sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds like planning.
Exactly. It sounds like you're being careful. But sometimes not yet is just fear wearing a suit.
So why do we wait to feel ready?
I think there are a few reasons. The first one is obvious. We don't want to feel embarrassed.
Embarrassment is a powerful fear.
Because embarrassment feels like a social punishment. Like you're being rejected.
Even though it's in reality. Most people are busy thinking about themselves.
Yes, but our brains still treat social mistakes as dangerous.
That's biology. Humans survived by belonging to a group. So your nervous system reacts strongly to anything that might look like rejection.
Which is why your mouth goes dry when you speak English in front of fluent people.
Exactly. But there's another reason we wait for readiness.
What?
We think readiness will protect us from disappointment.
Explain that.
If you wait until you're ready, you believe you can guarantee a good result. You believe you can control the outcome.
Like, if I study enough, I will speak perfectly.
Yes, but life is not a math equation. You can prepare a lot and still make mistakes. You can be skilled and still have a bad day.
So waiting for readiness is really waiting for certainty. So,
Exactly. And certainty is addictive. We want a guarantee before we take a risk.
but there are no guarantees.
Right. So we choose the illusion of safety. We delay. We plan. We collect resources, but we don't act.
That's so real. I've done that. I've watched English videos for hours instead of speaking for 5 minutes.
That's a common pattern. Passive learning feels safe and productive. Speaking feels risky and personal.
Because speaking shows your real level.
Exactly. And showing your real level means you have to face reality.
Okay, but let's be honest. Reality can be painful.
Yes. But reality is also what makes progress possible. If you never test yourself, you never learn where your gaps are.
So the discomfort is actually useful information.
Exactly, and discomfort is data.
That sounds like episode 13. Mistakes are your best friends.
Same universe, different stories.
So what's the solution? Because saying just do it is not enough.
True. Just do it is a slogan, not a strategy.
So give me a strategy. E?
I'll give you 3, and the listener can choose the one that fits them.
Okay.
Strategy 1. Redefine what ready means.
Meaning?
Most people think ready means I won't make mistakes, but that definition is impossible. So we need a new definition.
What definition?
Ready means I can handle the discomfort
That's a big shift.
because it changes the goal. The goal isn't flawless performance. The goal is emotional resilience.
Like, I can make a mistake and still continue.
Exactly. You don't need perfect English. You need the ability to stay in the conversation even when your English isn't perfect.
That's the skill.
Yes. And it's a skill you build by experiencing small discomfort, not by avoiding it.
Okay. Strategy 2.
Strategy 2. Set a brave moment target.
Brave moment.
One small uncomfortable action per week. Not every day. Not a huge challenge. Just one moment where you choose courage over comfort.
Give examples.
Sure. A brave moment could be leaving a voice message in English, asking a question in a group chat, joining a conversation club for 10 minutes, introducing yourself to someone in English, ordering coffee in English if you're traveling, recording yourself speaking and listening back without judging.
That last one is painful.
It is, which is why it works.
So one brave moment per week.
Yes, and you track it. Because tracking creates identity.
Identity.
When you see yourself doing brave moments consistently, you start believing. I am the kind of person who speaks.
That changes everything.
It does. Because motivation often comes after action, not before it.
Okay. Strategy 3.
Strategy 3. Make it messy on purpose.
That sounds dangerous.
It's controlled danger. You intentionally practice speaking without preparing. You practice being imperfect.
Like a messy conversation.
Yes. You choose a topic, set a timer for 2 minutes, and speak without stopping. If you don't know a word, you replace it with another word. If you make a mistake, you keep going.
So the goal is fluency, not accuracy.
Exactly. Later, you can improve accuracy. But first, you need flow. Because flow builds confidence.
I love that. Because so many learners are stuck in the accuracy trap.
And accuracy matters, but not at the cost of your voice.
Okay, let's talk about something else. Comparison.
Ah, the silent killer.
In my story, I imagined everyone being fluent and judging me. That's comparison.
Yes, but comparison is tricky because sometimes it can motivate you, and sometimes it can crush you.
For language learners, it often crushes.
Because you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
Meaning you compare your messy brain to their confident performance.
Exactly. You don't see their struggle. You see the final result.
So what do we do with comparison?
We convert it into curiosity.
How?
Instead of thinking, they're better than me, so I'm hopeless. Think, what can I learn from them?
That's healthier.
And also, remember, being fluent doesn't mean being perfect. Fluent people still make mistakes. They just don't panic about them.
That's such an important point. Sometimes the difference between a beginner and an advanced learner isn't grammar. It's emotional response.
Exactly. It's whether you collapse when you make a mistake, or you continue.
Okay, I want to add something for listeners who feel stuck.
Go ahead.
If you're listening right now and thinking, okay, but I'm shy, I freeze, I can't speak, I want you to know, you're not broken.
Yes.
Your nervous system is doing its job. It's trying to protect you from social risk. But protection becomes a prison when it blocks your growth.
Well said.
So we don't need to fight ourselves aggressively. We need to train gently.
Exactly. That's why small, brave moments are powerful. They teach your body. This discomfort is safe.
And slowly your body starts believing it.
Action builds trust with yourself.
I love that phrase. Trust with yourself.
Because every time you say, I'll speak, and then you don't, you lose trust.
And every time you show up, even imperfectly, you regain trust.
That's readiness. Self-trust.
Wow. So readiness is not a feeling. It's trust built through action. So,
Exactly. I want to give listeners a simple model that helps a lot. I call it the readiness ladder.
a ladder.
Yes, because people think readiness is one big jump, from zero confidence to full confidence. But real progress is step by step.
Okay, what are the steps?
Step 1, silent readiness. You understand more than you can say. You can follow videos, podcasts, subtitles. But speaking feels scary.
That's where many learners live.
Step 2, private readiness. You start speaking alone, shadowing, reading out loud, recording voice notes. It's still uncomfortable, but it's safe.
The training room.
Step 3, friendly readiness. You speak with one safe person, a tutor, a friend, a language partner who doesn't make you feel small.
The goal is connection, not performance.
Step 4, social readiness. You join group spaces, conversation clubs, meetings, small group discussions. You don't try to be perfect. You just stay in the room.
That stay in the room mindset is everything.
Step 5, real-world readiness. You use English when it matters. Interviews, presentations, travel, networking. Not because you feel ready, but because you've practiced the ladder.
I love this because it gives permission to move gradually. Zero.
Exactly. And here's the key. You don't wait to feel ready for the next step. You do a tiny version of the next step.
Tiny version.
Yes. If step 4 feels scary, you don't have to speak for an hour in a group. You can join for 10 minutes and say one sentence. If step 3 feels scary, you can send one short voice message.
So the unit of progress is small.
Always. And one more thing. You can move up and down the ladder depending on your day.
That's important. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel fragile.
And that's normal. You're not failing. You're human. The goal is not to stay at the highest step all the time. The goal is to keep climbing over months.
Listener, if you've been waiting for a big emotional ready moment, maybe you don't need it. Maybe you just need the next small step on the ladder. Before we go into the language spotlight, let's do something practical. Let's help listeners create a simple plan they can actually follow.
Yes, because inspiration without action is just entertainment.
Okay, listener, imagine you have a small notebook or your phone notes. We're going to build your brave moment plan for the next 7 days.
Step 1. Choose one speaking situation that scares you slightly. Not the scariest thing, just slightly uncomfortable.
Examples: speaking in a group chat, joining a conversation club, talking to a classmate, recording your voice, asking a question on a live stream.
Step 2. Lower the pressure. Make the goal tiny.
Not speak for 1 hour, but speak for 2 minutes. Not sound fluent, but finish the message.
Step 3. Prepare one bridge sentence you can use when you feel stuck.
A bridge sentence is a sentence that buys you time and keeps you in the conversation. Zeries?
Here are a few. Let me think for a second. That's a good question. I'm not sure. But I don't know the exact word. But can I explain it in another way?
Those sentences are like a handrail when you're nervous.
Step 4. After you do the brave moment, write one sentence. What went better than I expected?
Not what was bad, but what was better than I expected.
Because your brain is biased toward danger. You need to train it to notice safety.
And step 5, repeat next week. Sir,
That's it. Small courage. Repeated. After that first session ended, what did your brain do later?
It replayed everything, not the good parts, the awkward parts. I was brushing my teeth and suddenly hearing my own sentence in my head like, "Why did you say it like that?"
The inner editor always arrives late.
Exactly. And this is important. Sometimes you do something brave, and then your mind tries to punish you afterward. So I asked myself a different question.
Which one?
Instead of, "What did I do wrong?" I asked, "What did I do right?" I wrote 3 quick wins. 1, I joined even though I didn't feel ready. 2, I stayed even though I felt nervous. 3, people understood me.
That's real progress.
And the next week, when my brain whispered, "Not yet," I had evidence. I'd done it once. I could do it again.
Confidence is often built from memory, not from hope.
Yes. The second week was still uncomfortable, but it was less scary. I stopped trying to sound impressive. I focused on being clear. And I asked someone else a question, which instantly made me feel like I belonged.
That's the shift. From I'm performing to I'm participating. Let's name a few myths about readiness.
Myth 1, I need more vocabulary before I speak.
Reality. Speaking shows you which vocabulary you actually need. Those missing words become memorable because they come from real moments.
Myth 2, if I make mistakes, people will judge me.
Reality. Most people are kinder than your imagination. And in language spaces, mistakes are normal.
Myth 3, if I wait long enough, I'll feel ready.
Reality. Waiting doesn't create readiness. Practice creates readiness.
That's it. 3 myths. Simple and brutal.
Listener, let's do a messy conversation practice right now. 1 minute, no stopping.
Topic, a small thing that made you happy this week.
If you don't know a word, replace it. If you make a mistake, continue. Your job is flow, not perfection.
Pause and speak for 1 minute. Then say out loud, "It was messy, but I did it."
That sentence trains your identity.
A few extra C1 phrases that match today's theme.
And I talked myself out of it. I convinced myself not to do it.
I got in my own way. I became my own obstacle.
And I took the plunge. I finally did the scary thing.
I talked myself down. I calmed myself using logic.
It was uncomfortable, but it wasn't dangerous. Feelings versus facts.
And one powerful structure. The more I spoke, the more comfortable I became. The more I waited, the bigger the fear felt.
If you're waiting to feel ready, ask yourself, ready for what?
Ready to never make mistakes. That's impossible. Ready to have zero fear. That's not human.
Be ready for practice, ready to try again, ready to show up imperfectly.
Because that's how readiness is built. Okay, language spotlight time. We'll share some C1 level phrases related to today's theme: readiness, courage, hesitation, and action.
And we'll also show how to use them naturally, not like a textbook.
Phrase 1, I kept putting it off.
This is a very natural way to say you delayed something repeatedly.
Example, I kept putting off joining the conversation club because I didn't feel ready.
Phrase 2, I talked myself out of it.
That means you convinced yourself not to do something.
Example, I was about to join, but I talked myself out of it.
Phrase 3, I was waiting for the perfect moment.
We all do this. And the phrase has a slightly self-aware tone, like you're admitting the truth.
Example, I realized I was waiting for the perfect moment, and that moment never came.
Phrase 4, I worked up the courage.
Meaning you gradually built enough courage to act.
Example, I worked up the courage to unmute my microphone and introduce myself.
Phrase 5, I forced myself to show up.
This phrase is strong and honest. It doesn't pretend you felt motivated.
Example: I didn't feel confident, but I forced myself to show up anyway.
Phrase 6. I was out of my depth.
This is a great C1 phrase. It means you felt in a situation that was more advanced than your current ability. Airs:
Example. In that first meeting, I felt out of my depth, but I stayed.
Phrase 7. I froze.
Simple, but powerful. It describes that moment when your mind goes blank.
Example: when they asked me a follow-up question, I froze for a second.
Phrase 8. I pushed through.
Meaning you continued despite difficulty.
Example. I pushed through the awkwardness and finished my thought.
Phrase 9. It was uncomfortable, but it wasn't dangerous.
This is a mindset sentence. It helps you separate feelings from facts.
And it's a great contrast structure. Arrow:
Yes, which brings us to our grammar focus. Contrast and reframing.
a powerful C1 pattern is: it wasn't X, it was Y.
Example. It wasn't that I was incapable. It was that I was afraid of being judged.
Another useful pattern: not because, but because.
Example. I stayed quiet not because I had nothing to say, but because I didn't want to make mistakes.
Another C1 pattern: even if.
Example. Even if I make mistakes, I can still communicate.
And no matter how.
Example. No matter how nervous I feel, I can take one small step.
Let's give listeners a mini practice.
Yes. Listener, repeat after us. Or pause and say your own version.
I've been putting it off because I don't feel ready.
But readiness isn't a feeling. It's a decision.
It was uncomfortable, but it wasn't dangerous.
Even if I make mistakes, I can still show up.
Great. Now, a final set. Practical phrases you can use in conversation when you get stuck.
These are lifesavers. Let me rephrase that. What I mean is, I'm trying to say that. Can you give me a second? How do you say,
Notice how these phrases keep you inside the conversation.
exactly? You don't disappear. You stay.
So let's come back to the heart of today's episode.
Stop waiting to feel ready.
If you're learning English, you will not wake up one day and suddenly feel like a perfect speaker.
You will wake up many days feeling nervous, tired, and uncertain.
And you can still act.
Because action creates readiness.
If you take one brave moment this week, just one, you're proving something to yourself.
You're proving. I can be uncomfortable and still move.
And that proof is more powerful than any motivational quote.
Before we go, we want to leave you with a simple challenge.
Choose one brave moment. Make it small. Do it within the next 7 days.
And after you do it, write one sentence. What went better than I expected?
Then keep going.
If you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who's learning English, someone who's been waiting, delaying, and doubting.
And if you want, leave a comment or a message telling us your brave moment plan. We'd love to hear it.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
This was English Daily Talk.
And remember, you don't need to feel ready.
You just need to begin.